Alright, 3.5, inequalities involving quadratic functions. First of all, I want to point out that I made a change here. This should be less than or equal to, not an equal sign, so go ahead and make that change in your notes. It says solve the inequality x squared minus 4x minus 12 is less than or equal to 0 and graph the solution set. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to solve for the zeros of this function. Okay, so our zeros, the zeros are when it equals 0. If I factor this, I'm going to get x minus 6, x plus 2. Because negative 6 times 2 is negative 12. Negative 6 plus 2 is negative 4. I've got x minus 6 equals 0, x plus 2 equals 0. Add 6 to both sides, x equals 6. Minus 2 from both sides, x equals negative 2. Alright, so hopefully you guys remember this from Algebra 2. If not, let me know in class so I can go over a little bit more. Here is our scale. We need to figure out if the numbers are negative or positive on this side of negative 2, in between negative 2 and 6, and on this side of positive 6. The reason we're doing that is because if you were to graph this, okay, this tells us that the parabola hits the x-axis at negative 2, whoops, at negative 2, and at positive 6. Okay? So first thing we're going to do, pick any number less than negative 2. We'll say negative 3. Okay? If I plug in negative 3 into this, I get positive 9. I'll write this down. If I plug in negative 3, I'm going to get positive 9. Negative 3 times negative 4 is positive 12. Minus 12. This gives me a positive number. Now let's pick a number between 0 and negative 6. Or sorry, between negative 2 and 6. Let's try 0. If you plug in 0, you end up with negative 12, which is less than 0. And if we plug in, say, 7, we're going to get 49 minus 28 minus 12, which is positive. Now we are looking for the solution when this is less than or equal to 0. This is less than or equal to 0 from negative 2 to 6. So that is our solution set. Make sure you include negative 2 and 6 because at negative 2 and 6 the function equals 0. Okay? Now if it was not underlined, then we would use regular parentheses. Box this. I'll let you guys try this one. Alright, solve the inequality 2x squared is less than x plus 10 and graph the solution set. Let's use a different color. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set it equal to 0. So I've got 2x squared minus x minus 10 is less than 0. If I were to solve for the zeros in this, let's see here. Let's just make it like this. If I factor it, I'm going to get 2x minus 5x plus 2. And if you FOIL that in your head, you'll see you get your original equation. So 2x minus 5 equals 0, x plus 2 equals 0, 2x equals 5, x equals 5 over 2, x equals negative 2. So we're going to do the same thing. Here's negative 2. Here's 5 over 2. If I plug in negative 3, I'm going to get positive 9 here times 2 is 18. Minus negative 3 becomes plus 3. This is positive. If I plug in 0, I get negative 10, which is, oops, negative. And 5 over 2 is the same as 2.5, so let's plug in 3. If I plug in 3, I'm going to get 18 again. Still positive. So we're looking at where this is less than 0. It's less than 0 from negative 2 to 5 over 2, but not including negative 2 and 5 over 2 because this is not underlined. So our solution set is negative 2 to 5 over 2 with the parentheses. rather than the brackets. Alright, and I'll leave the U-tries for you, and that's all.